Welcome to my lovely HP community and the 5D collective. We began our day with some shorts. Empowered people and lovers, they do not live drama or think with suspicious minds. No, they actually do something quite different, which is be mental, emotional, and physical self agents who love, and they pursue their ventral vagal state health. So we know as lovers that our ventral vagal state is healthy and our integrated brain, and so having a downregulated default mode network that does not scan self and others for approval. Okay, and that's where I'm going to share. Luckily for me, my higher self didn't leave me, so as a teenager I'm already a functional inner child adult, which is what we are here. And just so you are clear, if you're new, let me read to you from our community one of the posts that I shared about 12 days ago. That way you can understand. We get to, here at HP, I get to share with you stories of how easy it is to be yourself and to have emotions be experienced with enthusiasm and as an opportunity. Emotions are not contagious. It is your nervous system, and only when not mastered in being yourself. So people who say, I scan a room, emotions are contagious, they don't know how to navigate their ventral vagal state. They don't know how to differentiate and use their prefrontal cortex. They don't know how to be their self for real, and they don't love themselves first. I do. And that's why self-empowered, enlightening men, women, and theys have healthy self-worth, and we don't actually do. Oh my God, they called me vain. Anyone who is authentic and transparent knows what it sounds like to meet authenticity and transparency. If you live in suspicion, always thinking everyone is out to get you, you will only do very small things in life. Trust is very important. Thank you, Sadhguru. Also, when people are hypervigilant and in safety behaviors, the rigidity and chaos, non-bilaterally integrated brain is not the optimized health, which is why it creates situations. And so trust about expanding consciousness. As a teenager, I already again knew intuitively. I come from the future, by the way. I'm a 5D mystic and I'm a mentor, content creator, and podcast host. So with my soul sister, and a lot more than just that soul sister, we talk about things, and I know my past lives, my future life, and one of the future. Yeah. So I'm trying to think right now. But securely attached, non-traumatized people, we self-regulate in the absence of others. And so we wake up more energized. We wake up always on a high, which is why people think anchored in ventral energy means that you are only happy, which still is amazing to be happy. I own my body because I own my embodied brain. And so I own my mind because I am an empowered feminine and an empowered masculine. And that's because I own my integrated brain. And I don't actually scan me to make you happy. So the down-regulated default mode network is the person who is self-agent with their, I'm going to use my ventral vagal state. Okay, so emotions, again, they're not contagious. It's your nervous system. When we pick up people in a room, Dr. Daniel Siegel, luckily for me, gave me the suggestion, as I told him, so we're all somatic empaths, and he said, just keep differentiating. I think you need to differentiate more. So it means using more of your prefrontal and allowing yourself to know that when you're picking up on another nervous system, it's not your stuff, it's not contagious, it's just their nervous system, which is why when you learn about DID and disorganized attachment, you also learn that you pick up on when they're switching the states of self. And that's really fascinating, by the way, to actually not only have already experienced, but also hear and then know how to leave it alone. Those who will become the 5D collective members from all walks of life choose the frequency of love because they choose to, again, anchor in their ventral vagal state health. And that means to work towards integration of the brain and restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, and regulating lifestyle practices, choices, which is what mindfulness practices with the mindset skills and the inner growth mindset support. So you create resiliency. Again, you are being yourself and you're building and enhancing emotional awareness and resiliency with enthusiasm because you know it's an opportunity that you have been given. I get to be the proof that you can tap into your infinite higher human consciousness potential experience, and you get to hear funny stories. So love is a permanent state thanks to choosing to anchor in ventral energy. I got to have that, thanks Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, as an adolescent. And through engaging the ventral vagal state, and that means that health, because of eustress, and so I'm in a higher frequency, I don't have laundry, because I'm not using rumination, I'm using my prefrontal, not the temporal junction. And I am able to also use the temporal junction because that is where you relate to the events that are happening with the past. Okay, so our 5D collective here at IHP, the community, it's going to be mystic, spiritual, mindfully living, loving people of the infinite, higher human consciousness, potential experience, because you choose well-being, intelligence, and to live life as your authentic self. But above all, because again, you've chosen as a self-agent with your own 3 motivating subcortical areas, that bonding and physical safety, like self-agency, are all motivating you to be the best version of yourself. So true leadership is when you will be able to bring out the best from another. I bring out the lover in you and not the siren. If you want the siren, there's a fancy lady and man in suit. They do a really great job at wielding their mouths. 7 to 14 are not charming to the smart ones of us, and that's where I am, as I point out, an academic at heart. I just chose to do self-help, personal development for people so I can help you to be happy in life. And then the researchers can do the lovely work that they're doing. And in the meantime, I also get the luck to tell you about Anima Mundi and God and how he is discerning equanimous love to me. And that's why in that lovely book that I'm a co-author of, the chapter is God is discerning equanimous love. And you hear about my past and my upbringing with Christian Catholicism. Then you hear about my transformation with my spiritual experiences, which, by the way, clairs are the same as spiritual gifts. And when you look at the guru and a prophet, they're pretty much the same. But they're not the same when you go and pick up on the energetic imprint and on their past. But they're the same, meaning that the left and the right work together. So I take the entirety of something and I'm able to bring it all because they can't touch each other. No, Anima Mundi, okay? So the right is able to sit with it all because I'm sitting, focusing attention. And in this darkness, I'm okay with being Maria and a self-agent and with all the books, and I'm not throwing them at people because I'm also grounded in reality. Thank you, Sam Harris. Any of my cherishable beliefs can be falsifiable. And so you have a good time. That's why we have a good time. Functional child adults, we love leading life in our flow state, and we are anchored again in our ventral energy. So living this is why our life and our relationships, they never get old, they never get boring, they don't stagnate. We live, love, laugh, learn, don't cast stones. And we do stay in a lovely, fun way. Judgment? No. That's the charge thing. We do discernment, wise, good judgment, and we play with words. So while those who want to cast stones are going to use ancient news and limited consciousness, let me tell you about being yourself, mindfully flawed with integrity. Okay, so what other people say about you doesn't matter. It is what you don't want to be ashamed of what you have done. Integrity. That's that lovely word. I have a bunch of different ways that I share with you all quotes, and before we move forward, let me just get Sadhguru for a minute because I love this one. It is the ability to bring out the best in others that makes you a leader. And like I said, I bring out those lovers, because these people, they don't like IHP content. They like the content that will have them feeling more special or less special and all that other stuff. I like also Robert Sapolsky. I make fun of him, but I look forward to reading his book when the time comes. Your frontal cortex is the part of your brain that is freest from genetic influences because it is being sculpted still by the environment and your experiences a quarter century after you have plopped out of the womb. While the brain is sculpted by those 2-3 years worth of experience, the rest of it. Okay, so lovers again meet when mental, emotional, and physical self-agency is at hand. Lovers are people who love, so they're securely attached, non-traumatized, because they work with sensations, images, behaviors, affects, meanings, so they can not only contain it, see it, talk about it, downregulate that default mode network, pay attention to my health, and if I'm not waking up more energized, I am not navigating my ventral vagal state, I'm not integrated completely, there's stuff, what's going on? The inner growth mindset, let me explore what's eating away at me. And the part about why securely attached is important is because some people need to get earned secure attachment. So healthy self-worth relationships bring out the capacity for this to happen, but the person wields their nervous system. They are a physiological state, which is why they need to own their 0-1-year-old. Otherwise they won't be their actual grown-up higher self. Okay, so I'm a self-agent for that reason. All my child parts are mine. monoamory, polyamory, we equally love. That's because we have love, healthy habits, and we pursue those daily. We pay attention to our health, and that's our energy levels, also what we eat, what we drink. It's all moderation, not excessive anything of this or that. And self-worth is what we have. So we do not find it boring when people show up consistently. On the contrary, we love secure, attached, non-traumatized, healthy, self-worth human beings. Okay, and so you get to be yourself, which means that with or without other people, you're yourself, and you don't lose trust. You don't lose trust in anyone, even if they betray. Okay, so we're going to get to some stories. And again, it's not the words I use, it's the nervous system state that I'm in. That's the number one thing that I will do my best to keep reminding you. 5D is because you're in a Christ consciousness, oneness consciousness, an integrated brain, and you're able to be self-aware, accountable, regulating. If you live in suspicion, always thinking everyone is out to get you, you will only do very small things in life. Trust is very important. When you see 3D, 4D hanging out together, it's because people who don't have healthy self-worth, they will continue to play the same Tom and Jerry on a wheel, and you'll notice it. But for my body, it won't make a difference because I will differentiate, and I can pick up in a room a bunch of different immature signals because I'm 45 and I've been doing the love shack is a little old place where we can get together. Okay, so I've been in my ventral vagal state since I was already a kid because I own my emotions. So they're not contagious, they're not good, they're not bad. I got lovingly accepted, did not work for love, and all my emotions were able to express. As a person who's also a mystic mentor for spiritual growth and the personal development, what I want to add before we continue with storytelling is that when you make no assumptions and you know your cherishable beliefs could be falsifiable, you know that you have in front of you situations of people who could think of consistently being fucked over, okay? I'm a person who likes to, one, give the benefit of the doubt, and two, I don't like to be influenced by negative experiences because I feel bad as an empowered feminine for those masculines. But feeling bad doesn't mean that I am a stupid person. What I mean by that is that I can acknowledge that Maria feels bad for people who have low self-esteem, indirect communication, passive aggressive, but Maria can also acknowledge that there's frustration in having fake people around because it's not only feeling bad, okay? So love and fear, walk like an Egyptian. That's why I get to do that because I'm in my ventral vagal state. So I'm using the left and right, and I'm acknowledging all the sensations, images, behaviors, affects, meanings, and all the past. So my temporal junction brings up anything. But because I'm securely attached, non-traumatized, I'm able to process, means metabolize the emotions, and I don't pretend. I don't close my heart. I keep it open. A teenager, someone's saying the whole, it's not personal. And I noticed this. And I was like, wait a minute, if I keep my heart, it's not personal. That's how I began working with that, for example. Okay, so mindfulness involves that you have introception, but that's because I have a good relationship with my body and my insula lights up, my amygdala is alerted, my temporal junction and my prefrontal cortex, and I'm in a physiological state of compassion. That's why I'm a lover. That's why I'm a 5D mystic. That's why I'm a 5D spiritual person. I'm Christ consciousness, meaning oneness consciousness. Please do not take it out of context. I would not want to dishonor any of those who are, that came before us. This is one of the things. It's not about us not embodying, but let's organize and not dress ourselves up. My name is Maria. I embody what is a piece of energy like anybody else, which is space and time and all that, but I'm still a whole self. So my emotions, my biases, my preferences, this is all with me. I put it to the side, which is why I live spirituality life, a meaningful and connected life beyond the soul self, but I'm still here. I would be a liar, pants on fire to say that Maria is not present, which is where spiritual bypassers, savior complex, ignorant human beings who to me are arrogant because they don't have the humility and integrity to notice you're still here. You have shit that's yours. It's not good or bad. I got shit that's mine too. It's all Maria right here. I don't need to be ashamed of it. I'm here. I'm not proving shit. Again, any of my cherishable beliefs can be falsifiable. I only would have to prove stuff in a certain way quantitatively if I'm doing research and analysis, which I'm not. This is how a self-agent will behave with their life and sharing life. And so social time. Okay, so higher self Maria, teenage boyfriend, cheats the first time. And here's where in one of the shorts I told you I come from the future. That's what my spiritual sister and I, soul sister, one of my soul sisters and I, we talked about this. But let me put that story to the side. So we're talking, and I said, I don't remember the specific conversation. I just knew that it's fine, it happens, and I'm keeping the details out of the picture on purpose. But the point is that I told him, if I lose trust in you, I just won't be with you. And I'm not going to be with somebody that I don't trust. And when people betray, and that's where my teenage years, I met plenty of cowards. I'm 19. I'm now like, hey, God, so I found out there's only cowards. Don't see Lucifer anywhere. And those people in cloaks, they keep hurting children. So really, I don't know. They're not your heart and word and mind, because they hurt children and they continue to live in medieval times. They're blaming the sex revolution and Lucifer for sex and all this promiscuity. They're not learning about neuroscience, neurotheology, neuro anything. They're actually now talking shit about Reiki. So anytime I'm hearing, Wendy, what's up? Yoga, demons, really? You obviously don't know what the body is. The body stores trauma charges in its muscles, bones, and tissues. Thank you, Peter Levine. So when people don't like what they hear, no, some don't even bother getting into the information, but they like to talk about Lucifer, devils, demons, and make all these hypothetical, whatever you're calling it, and saying polyamory is the problem, the sex revolution. There's no problem. What we have are securely attached, non-traumatized people, and then not securely attached, obviously, people. Or, excuse me, they might be securely attached, but they don't know how to work with their trauma charges. In fact, what was that study? The fourth step to healing trauma charges. We all have charges because emotions come up again. Your nervous system is to take bystanders and go together to punish the side that they've decided is the bad side. Okay, so when you're a teenager and we're at cheating incident 2, and I knew it was in front of all my friends, and I'm like, I'm going to go ask my friends, the good ones, not all of them because it was a big group, but I'm going to go ask all my friends, the ones that I consider the ones who would have told me, could have told me. So why didn't you tell me? And why didn't you tell me? And so one, I'll never forget this one, they all had experiences of why they chose not. This teaches you how people don't have the capacity to take their own human experiences and separate them and then learn who they have in front of you. And we'll get to that in cheating incident 3, okay? So I'm saying yes to forgiveness. I'm saying yes to not cast stones. I'm saying yes to Jesus, God, Holy Spirit. I'm going in confirmation. These are all people I grew up with. I'm, from about the 14 till 19. Okay, so just in case you're curious, and they know me, but I am a very, very straight shot person. I have no questions about Maria, which is why I learned that confidence is something girls and boys apparently don't like. And I'm 19 and I say I only see cowards. 45, I'll let you know what a coward is. It's the same person who will negate to go to Patrick Tian to get their inner child reparented, or Terry Real to become a fierce lover, or Dr. Daniel Fox to go heal, or Dr. Daniel Siegel, or Bezel, or whoever, and however many I could name, which I can, Pat Ogden. So when I see Evil Knievel Medieval, it's not Evil Knievel Medieval from the philosophical religious textbooks. What was it, Michael Stone? Forensic criminologist, thank you for your scale. The 7 to 14 ain't charming to me. I spot them like a hawk. And the ones who follow them, I don't tell you. That would be very unpolite, not polite to tell you, but also, you know what I know about biologically rude people and those who are not anchored in ventral vagal state? Poor unfortunate souls. So sad. I'm not going to bother because I already learned from teenagers what cowards do. They project. Now I also know the attachment trauma education. So I don't do anything with a biologically rude person because they lack, as Dr. Daniel Fox would present, the self-awareness, accountability, and regulation. Their pathology is going to become what they are, and that's why they're a donkey. And I make fun of them that way because they will, to a T, here's what I don't enjoy is meeting idiots. And that's why I keep getting chimed in with God. He shares with me, don't judge human suffering. It is how you're going to expand, but don't judge it, meaning don't be so, it's a waste of my fucking time, because that's actually what it is. It's a waste of my fucking time. Leave me alone. I don't need to be in your space. You don't need to be in my space. There's no reason for any of this, by the way, to leave my brain. I actively don't do any chit chat because I've had enough of the experiences with those who are of masculine nature, only their left brain. They don't know how to harness their self. They're just in a safety behavior. they're going to fall down, tumbling over, and I'm not paying attention because I don't need to be in their head and I don't need to be in their space and I don't need to be watching my back. I ain't worried about getting fucked with. A 3-year-old don't get fucked with because, again, it's a ridiculous teenage sentence. I see adolescents doing this shit. And when I see them, I say, look, this is not healthy for you and it's really unnecessary. Unless you want to get hooked on drama, of course, and stay in a stressed out, distressed body. I mean, I'm a grown up. I can't force you to believe in data, and I won't, but I'm going to share it with you so that you can understand what you're doing to yourself. And if you want to be like those other stupid idiots that I met as a teenager, I didn't look up to my peers. You booing me for asking for homework on a Friday makes me not flinch at all because, again, intellectually speaking, I love learning and I'm confident. And so Maria doesn't change. Maria's gotten more of Maria. The only reason it's different is because I know, and those who know me from when I was a kid know. But the reality is I'm consistently the same personality pattern with the temperament, but I'm a securely attached person who's learned flexibility, which is why you can tell that I'm an expanding. Thank you, Dr. Danny Siegel, for all your acronyms. Piece of consciousness. He won't watch me. But my point is I'm to a T the same human being I've always been. I just grew to mature, which is really fun. I was telling that to some grown-ups yesterday. I was like, it's so nice to be a grown-up. And so mental, emotion, physical mastery is this. And then you look to the past and you think of amazing stories to tell people. And of course, was it nice to have cowards? No, but I learned a lot. So this girlfriend of mine, she's telling me why she didn't tell me. And I'll never forget how she turns it around, though. She tells me, well, so what happened to me, because all the boys and the girls were jealous of my relationship with my boyfriend, they spread a rumor that I had had sex with all the people, all the boys at the town. And so he broke up with me. And then he realized that it wasn't true. And he came back, and it wasn't by talking to her. I don't remember how it went down. I was like, you took him back? That he didn't even talk to you about it. Why would you take him back? No, because you see, the girls and the boys, they were envious. So I know they were envious of my relationship. Okay, that still doesn't, he didn't even talk to you though. I at least, we talk about things. The only reason you know about this is because the boy who told you likes you. No, he's my friend. No, he likes you. He wanted you to be broken up so he could be your boyfriend. No, and even if it's true, I don't care. He told me, at least he told me. And so people who have suspicion, right there, you got an emotionally immature, speculating person. They all need Terry Real. Terry Real does a really great job at informing anyone who wants to become a fierce lover how to be that. He's like, look at your affect. Don't go with the bullshit story. And he doesn't do cursing. But my point is, he teaches anybody who wants to actually be a grown man and woman and or they how to be one. I will let you know the poly secure community doesn't do, you're not poly enough. No, we also don't all stand together and think we need to have, so let me leave that one to the side. But when I think of people saying, you're unfaithful, you're whores, you're masochist, you don't know love, you're traumatized, you're just wanting to be selfish and have everything. Again, wow, you all have a lot of insecurities. I see you don't know compersion. I also see you don't know how love really works, because if you did, you'd know it's a consistency of you being in your ventral vagal state. Thanks, Stephen Porges. I hope you write the book with your wife one day. So when you have a way to share something, can Maria's cherishable beliefs all be falsifiable? Thank you, Sam Harris. Yes, but you know what I can tell you is I'm telling you my story. The first time I met somebody who knew what love was to me, Eric Fromm, The Art of Loving. Finally, somebody who knows it doesn't ever end. And when I got sat down, because I said I love people, all people equally, without even yet being in the polyamory community, I had to put up with being asked, who are you going to save when the earth comes to be destroyed? Because God gave me a miracle called life, I will allow myself to sacrifice my life and let the one who lived the least amount of time stay alive, because it's a gift, and that would be my younger sister. I was literally sat down and not allowed to leave the table until I answered these ridiculous questions. And as a 45-year-old woman, I still get presented with ridiculous limited consciousness questions, which is why I was not very fond of hearing that you have polyamory community who give each other numbers. What the fuck? Hierarchy? You are actually objectifying human beings, and you are allowing yourself to give them 1, 2, and 3. Wow. But again, I come with God. That's very not cool, putting people on pedestals, putting numbers. But I do understand insecure human beings. The only reason you would need me to give you a number, or you would be using numbers, is you've quantified your own worth, which means you don't understand that you're priceless, which means you don't know self-worth. You don't even know self-acceptance. You don't know how to be a lover. And there's all your suspicious mind teenagers who don't mean anything to an empowered person except for, wow, I can't pity you. I'm going to do something enough to be saluted, because that would be disrespectful. You have free will. God gave it to you. Determined says you have no free will. So really, I have nothing to correct, because either you have free will to go head on over to therapist, or you have no free will and you'll consistently be a fool. But to pity you would be disrespectful, because I know it here that that's not nice, because that's a judgment, a casting of a stone, and I don't live in your body. I'm an empowered feminine. I ain't your body. I don't know in your mind what the fuck goes on. I'm my own empowered masculine. I'm a star baby. Obviously, you don't feel that you are an eternal child, orphan, exile, insecure human being who does nothing but poor, unfortunate souls. So sad. So anytime I meet not healthy people, I know exactly who they are. And they don't represent a threat, because their energy and their facade, self-fulfilling prophecies, my facade friend. He is the other story that I have for you. And he's not a romantic partner. No, he's a friend that I love to death. And to this day, I actually think he's more sensitive than he ever was, because he didn't grow confident. So teenage boyfriend, back to that story. The experiences you have will be not used if you are self-agent. I'm a lover who grew more loving, not less loving. I don't actually have my faith in humanity broken, because God made us. I do know every person will show me what they're made of, and I will either meet a lover or I will meet this. And if I meet this, it won't mean anything. That's why, again, I don't flinch when I have an insecure person, because I'm not insecure. And mental, emotional, physical agents don't chit chatter, because lies have short legs, because people who don't know how to use their ventral vagal state will not be able to commit. It's not only men, it's also women. Rigidity and or chaos. Your sympathetic dorsal vagal ain't your health. And so there's a bunch of ways that those who ignore the fact that your default mode network, if it still scans you and others in a way of making it stressful, and that means that when you're in an environment with people, you get drained, there's a way for you to work with getting out of that. And those who don't want it, they will find ways to avoid the information and continue to patch themselves. And they will say that they're actually doing it right. And here's where Patrick Chan, as he points out, the ones who are pretending, they will talk about emotional vulnerability as being strong wrong. They will instead be the ones who are suppressing and thinking that numbing and pretending is strong. So emotional vulnerability and being able to have a good relationship with your emotional plane is what allows you to free those charges and to learn, by the way, how to use your brain. And so that's why ventral vagal state is the health, because you're only going to be in your ventral vagal state when you are a self-agent whose mental, emotional, and physical plane is of your own, and your 0-1-year-old is not an attached panicky. So you're securely attached, non-traumatized, whether monoamory, polyamory. Okay, so that's why integrity, death do part, sickness and health, this is where it comes in. It's not tradition, monoamory, that leads to integrity. It's the person who's able to commit, man, woman, or they, because they come and show up. And I'm telling you, the bonus of the lover is you show up energized, invigorated, kind, compassionate, consistently, over and over and over again. And when you meet biologically rude people, you do nothing, because I know differentiation personally. So I'm a teenager. My BFFF of all times, she does this thing, and I have the capacity to say, wait until you're not upset anymore, because otherwise you're going to say things you don't want to say. And so I don't look at humanity with suspicious eyes, because that 14 to 19, actually 11 to 19, all I saw were cowards, to the point of telling God without even having any attachment trauma education. There's no Lucifer that I've seen. And this evil and unkindness that I see consistently shows me coward. And then I got through college, and I'm like, okay, I actually know a thing or two about that, which is a lot of stuff. I'm not going to get into it. But once I got to my 30s, yes, so with clairs and all that beautiful stuff that comes with your oversoul, I can tell you that I knew as an empowered feminine, every step of the way, I'm going to consistently be brought to that which I am wanting to be, which is a mentally, emotionally, and physically mastered human being. even though I had different ways of saying it and sharing it. And so here's the part of where no one tests a person who's a self-agent, because lovers don't test each other, because I don't look at you with suspicious eyes. I don't lose trust in you. You will show me what you're made of. And as an empowered feminine, I will know that every masculine will be able to achieve their full potential, as well as every feminine. They will both, we all embody both, but you'll know which one you are. Okay, so I'm integrating, again, mystic here, woo-woo pseudoscience lady, but I bring also for our spiritual community, light body doesn't lose people as you expand. I haven't lost one person. Are there people who don't like me? Yes, there are. Are there people who think I'm an evil bitch, evil witch? Perhaps that I don't know, because people who are cowards don't have guts to tell you things in there. This is the part. I don't know people who have guts to have an actual quote unquote argument with me, because I won't argue with you. I'll state who I am, what I brought, and that's it. And I will make a statement. So if somebody's attacking my character, yelling at me, whatever it is, I will simply be concerned with my physical safety. Other than that, I won't care what's coming out of their mouth, because the minute you're reactive, you're emotional, you need to calm down first, and maybe I'll have somebody to talk to. But I'm not really interested in having to prove what's going on, because here's where the people who are grown-ups, lovers, don't do any of what I just described, because they know self-agency, which means they know that they're defective like anybody else, but not because we're defective. What I mean is we're imperfect. I'm flawed, you're flawed, I can be crooked, you can be crooked. This is called a clear conscience, because I know my intent, and I learned that I can't prove it. Thanks, teenage boyfriend. And I'm not going to bother trying to. And when people don't have the capacity to handle that type of authenticity, it's because they're flared up with exiles, protectors, and shit that's theirs, not mine. I haven't done anything wrong for you to come at me and tell me that I'm being rude. No, I'm being Maria, and you don't like me. And that's okay. You don't have to like me. I will put myself to the side, and I will shake your hand and thank you for your time. And I have done this, by the way, and not lovers in this case. I've done this in a lot of situations, because I don't know insecurity. I will be straightforward, and I will not bow down in shame, because there's no reason for me. And this is called functional child adult. And so when women say you're too serious, and when men say you need to say it better, I just say, okay, thanks for the tips. And so yes, the mental, emotional, physical mastered person, they're not petty, and they're not cowards. Then they also know how to speak in each other's faces consistently, and they don't actually come at characterological distinctions. That's because they're not going to be immature and insecure. So we have compersion for each other. We want each other's well-being. And as I got to mature to what you see, we'll be back maybe with other stories. I can tell you that a lover is a fierce lover thanks to Terry Real, and they're a inner adult thanks to Patrick Jan, and or they're going to be sharing with you similar stories like what I did, that I have a higher self. Teenagers didn't make me think that humanity was sucky. No, all those teenagers just showed me how insecure people were. But they were teenagers. The college students showed me the same. Then I got to become an adult, and what I can tell you is with attachment trauma education, I have answers for every single one of those immature people. They all could use a therapist. That's it. And when I see commercials of TV series that are completely dramatic, I just think, this is disgusting. What the fuck is wrong with people? And then I say, oh wait, Maria, that's not the right way to say it. Because, they actually have the 3D, 4D collective of fear frequency who are consistently watching each other's back with suspicious eyes and looking for checklists to not get fucked with again. And then they also want to stay in their hissy fits and stuff like that. Look at the fancy lady in her suit. Now she even got to love is a performance. And there's other ones who tell you about love being a performance. And it's like, wow, sure it is. It's not, I'm not a circus act. I mean, I love to be an entertainer, but I'm a lover. I don't get tired, and I don't feel ashamed. And that's because, again, I love to love. And my baby, he loves to laugh and live and learn and expand and not cast stones, and authenticity. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Never let it fade away. So when your innocence is there, it's because you're not a hyper-vigilant inner child. You're an inner adult. Functional inner child adults, we have a good time. And our lovers do too. And that's why I'm here for those who, again, are self-agents and wanting to be their self and wanting to do more emotional, mental, physical workout. Come on over. And that's because it is fun. I love mastering, and I can't wait to build our community to the point of where we're going to have workshops, retreats, first online, then we'll choose to do something together. Well, not necessarily forever, because we don't know how long we'll live in these bodies, but you know what I'm talking about. So for mentorship, you email me. Masterclass email. Workshop retreats email. Those last two, they get a sweet number first, and then we'll talk about the rest. And for one-to-one, we organize based on what your goals and objectives are. Meantime, again, stories are that I love all people that came and come into my life. I expand my oversoul, don't minimize it. And the ones who don't like me, as Dr. Daniel Fox presents, people who don't like healthy self-worth, yes, they will leave. And Terry Real points that out too. So I'm okay with insecure human beings leaving. The ones who stick around but they don't really like us, we don't do anything about it, because again, pretenders, I don't have anything to do. I know my facade friend taught me a very big gift. I don't yell at anyone in their face when they lie to me anymore, because he still lies to me to this day, because pause, defective, fake people, not the ones who know we're all defective, meaning that us, somebody's going to, yes, she's a bitch, she's a witch. Okay, so none of us are imperfect or defective in that way of when people have shame. I don't have that. And so again, we're all children of God. All of us can be loved. The fallen angels, they're not fallen in the way of monsters, demons. They're 1 to 24 evil scale. They all need a therapist. And the ones who think they don't, again, poor unfortunate souls, no, we don't. They're hanging out together and having a good time with their trauma charges, and and like Braveheart, they think, if you fuck with me one more time, and you see them getting on screen and everything. So we'll be back with some more funny stories, but in the meantime, what I was trying to say is that we love to love and live and laugh and learn and come together, and when our brothers and sisters of fear don't have it in them to do it, it's none of our business, because God is benevolent and he loves all his children equally. Discernment, equanimity, love. Those who are also part of Source Akash Anima Mundi. Remember, we meet all souls so that we can continue to embody pure consciousness, unconditional love, not next lifetime, this lifetime. Anyone who tells you that it's easier to be dead than to be alive doesn't know how to embody pure consciousness within them yet, because their body weighs them down, which means they don't know their ventral vagal state or their health, because they don't know how to use their default mode network with it being down regulated. So they're still scanning self and others to get these. So again, their 3 subcortical areas are like mine, and they don't know how to use theirs. I do, with my personality patterns and my temperament and my attachment, flexibility, adaptability again. So integration of brain, restorative embodiment, we do more of it with mindfulness practices, mindset skills, help us to continue to integrate the inner growth mindset and to continue to sift through sensations, images, feelings, thoughts. We grow invigorated, energized, and so we grow empowered as true one power couples, which don't go around talking about themselves like that. And true anything doesn't go around talking about themselves in certain ways. But again, we do share that it's nice to be around big pieces of consciousness, because it's expanding. There's no stagnating. There's none. And we just make fun of, hey, Cusco, what's up? Pinocchio, have fun on the island. We'll be back later. We'll come bring you something for the donkeys, as you all decide which group of donkeys you're with. We're with these group of donkeys over here. I'm okay with being a donkey. Yep, totally cool. Please, asteroid, don't hit us. So again, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.